Hello, Citizen Media News. Roger here. I am here with Roger Homefield,
Mhm.
and Roger is he wrote a song called "That's Why We Need to Bring Back Trump," and he was framed by Hillary. That's Roger's claim for fame. It's kind of funny because his name is Roger and I'm Roger, and I don't usually get to meet that many Rogers. Hello, Roger.
That's right. You're absolutely correct. There are not that many. When I was 11 years old, I loved Roger Maris. I hated what happened to him at Yankee Stadium, but we can't lose our valuable time talking about baseball, so I'll get
Oh,
off
we
it.
we we could talk about baseball.
Yeah.
So you're originally from New York, and I'm from
Yeah.
Long Island. You're from the Bronx.
Hmm.
Uh, did being from New York, I was always a big Trump fan from when I was a kid, and we have to talk a little bit of a sport because this is why I became a Trump fan. Was
Hmm.
when I was a kid, I was a big hockey fan, and when the Islanders were doing really well when we were kids, ice hockey was a big thing around us, and of course in the city, the Rangers. And during that time frame, when I was growing up, Donald Trump took over the building or the renovation of the Wallman rink in Central Park.
Hmm.
And all I remember is him just totally humiliating Ed Koch. And it was just a big thing and stuff. So that's when I really became a big fan of Donald Trump when I was a kid like that. So, and I kind of remember the moment, and it's really funny because now when fast forward to 2015 and June 15th when he walked in, when he came down the escalator, you have these people that were not Trump fans. They were for Ted Cruz and
Hmm.
Rubio and everybody else that ran that year, and eventually everybody had to come around. But the one thing I'm known for is for being a Trump fan from the very beginning beforehand. So when did you become a Trump fan?
I got to tell you, I'm pretty much the opposite. I didn't dislike him whatsoever, but I was not a Trump fan. I didn't follow. I never saw the show. I think I didn't see the show, The Apprentice, but I did see some of his interviews, and I saw some of his old interviews with Oprah Winfrey. And I thought they were quite impressive. But no, I was not a Trump fan per se. What got me hooked was policy, policy, policy. He came down the escalator, but when he started opening his mouth, talking about things that none of the other politicians were talking about in a way that none of them talk, I said, really? And I perked up because so that's what did it for me. It was really once he started talking policies, I said, hey, this looks like he should be the guy.
What was the one thing that stood out to you?
Oh, there were so many. Back in the time, immigration. He was the first one to talk about immigration. If he didn't bring it up, I don't know if we would even have been discussing it to this day. He was the first. Nobody was talking about illegal immigration at the time,
Right.
and that was a big deal. Uh,
Uh,
but
you
just
know,
right off the bat, he started talking about things that people weren't talking about. And he was talking about Israel, the way he talked about Israel, the way he talked about the terrorists. Because when Obama was in charge, it was like everything they did was to make life more difficult for you and I and easier for the terrorists. Every single thing they did. And, when they were going to
what's
told
funny is
Guantanamo Obey, it was because they want to let everybody out. And that's what they did.
what's funny about that statement though is now it's not making life easier for the terrorists. It's they're making life easier for the criminals.
Yes.
Because in New
Well, yeah.
York now you don't get bail. It's like you commit a crime, you don't even go to jail anymore up there.
Well, with everything that's happening with this unbelievable spike in crime, that they would come out with and spend time on some kind of a law saying that you should not call not call them inmates, but you should call them incarcerated people. This vocabulary thing from the left is really insane, and I hope people recognize it and see that they're just in a completely different lane.
How did you get involved in music?
Oh, what are you kidding? No, no, I was always in music. Okay, my mother was a good singer, a very good singer. I started playing violin at like 6 years old. So I
Right.
was a concert violin. I was a concert master in the all county orchestra in Westchester County. Then played the trombone. Went with the big bands. Played with Buddy Rich, Stan Kenton, Maynard Ferguson, and ultimately put my own music act together that I had on the cruise ships for about 15 years. I was terrible the first 7 years because musicians are not entertainers. I had to really struggle to make that transformation. And then after that, I became an activist, and I put that Joe Citizen show together because I couldn't stand what was happening to America. I could not watch Uncle Sam get the tar beaten out of him every day. And so I ran down from the stands and onto the field and just jumped into it. And that's what happened. You get tired of doing that stuff. People get flamed out, and I was one of them. I hadn't done it for several years going back now until Sandy told me he had these lyrics for that he wrote for the Ladies of Tramp. Of course, we didn't write the song. He took the song Ladies of Tramp and he wrote the lyrics to it. And that's what really brought me back into being an activist, because I had really, I had been to the side for a while. So he brought me back. I'm glad he did. Yes, and we had Danita Kilcullen around the South Florida Tea Party. We had all kinds of big rallies, big protests. We used to get our messages out. We used to make statements in response to things. She died. Nothing's happened for the last number of years. But as far as Joe Citizen, like I said, I was watching the Obama administration piece by piece dismantle this country. It's like they come out with these different bombshells, and they're coming down like basketballs. Okay, you got to run out in the backyard, catch it. Then more bombshells are coming. Now they're smaller. You got to run around quicker to catch the volleyballs, and then the softballs, then the baseballs. Before you know it, it's raining golf balls. You can't keep up with everything that they were doing. And it really it's feeling that way now with this administration too. There's just so many bombshells. They get by with a lot of them because people can't keep up with all of them.
How long did you do the Joe Citizen show?
2 years. But I stayed as Joe Citizen for quite a while after that, speaking at various.
Did you do that?
Pardon me?
When did you do that?
The show was 2000, the end of 2007 to the end of 2009. So like 8 to 10.
Oh, it's that long ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah. So the show kind of took an exit right about Romney's loss. And I continued things. I did some other music videos. I figured maybe I could try to help in a different way.
Right.
And everything was fine. Alan West we had down here, and we used to have a lot of big rallies. But like I say, once unfortunately, the generator of that enthusiasm, Danita Kilcullen, she passed away, and kind of everything stopped.
Citizen Media News is a big fan of Alan West's.
I'm sorry, say again?
Citizen Media News is a big fan of Alan West's.
Well, I'm a tremendous fan of Alan West too, and I'm very proud to know the man, and I'm very proud to have spoken next to him and with him, and I'm sure one day he's going to do some great things for this country.
He's already done some good things for us.
Yes, absolutely he has. But I think he may run the country one day.
Talk more about your relationship between you and Sandy, and how you create music and how you develop.
I know Sandy from senior softball. So after Joe Citizen and music, I figured if I don't play softball now, I'm never going to play it. I know it sounds crazy, but music and baseball were my first love. So I came into Pompano. I didn't know too much about this senior softball stuff, but I said, wow, I went and checked it out. Sandy also is a senior softball player. So I know Sandy from playing senior softball in the Pompano Softball League. So we were friends from that. But over the past several years, Sandy's a smart guy. He's in Mensa, and he's a smart cookie. And we've been talking for years, and we talk about politics. Most of the time, we talk about this country. And we were both appalled at what's happening to the country, and really frightened that we could lose America for good. I mean, a lot of people don't take things that seriously. I think we really are on the precipice. Anyway, one day about a year ago, Sandy called me up and he said, hey, look, I've got some words to the Ladies of Tramp. I said, well, send him over. He brought him over. I said, hey, that's pretty good. I said, so what do you want me to do? He says, well, can you sing it? I said, well, I guess so. And that's really how it started. He found a track, I guess from karaoke. I don't know what it's from, but I liked it because I'm a big band player and it was a big band track. I manipulated the tempo and the keys and structured it to a certain length. And that's how we came up with the sound, with the track for that. And then I added the voice in the studio. But yeah, if Sandy hadn't have done that, I'd probably be moaning and being and not doing anything. But at least Sandy's got me back in the game, and it's a very good thing. But I know that it's hard. It's hard, and I'm sure you know that. It's what you're doing is not easy. It's hard because it's a responsibility, and with that comes a lot of work.
Who do you think you are emulating? Tony Bennett, Paul
Oh, singing
Anka?
wise, you mean?
Yeah,
Well, you know something, Roger.
because you got that
I was
look. You
real.
got that look. Yeah, you do got that Italian swooner kind of.
No, yeah, I know, but I don't have the chiseled face entertainers. Like I really don't. But I was never a singer. I was a musician. Musicians don't like singers, Roger. I don't know if you knew that, but musicians and singers like oil and water. So uh, when did I start? I really don't know what happened. There came a point in
How
time I
many
thought this
instruments
was
you
Nat
play?
King Cole, and for whatever reason, um,
How many instruments you play?
well, in the act, 8. But remember now, I said in the act, an act is show business, which means it's a show. I'm not saying I didn't play the instruments, but what I did was I made everybody think that I could really play them well, just the way I put things together. I did my own arrangements. And of course, I had the trombone and the violin, trombone especially, which was, well, starts off with talking about the border. We have no border, not even a gate.
Right.
And we could talk about the border for so long because the Democrats think they have a moral high ground on the border. It couldn't be more wrong than that, as you know, because by luring these poor people up here with the magnet, telling them they're going to get free this and that, which I guess they are, they're making a dangerous, dangerous trek. And some of them are getting raped, some of them are getting killed, and it's not doing them any good. It's certainly not going to do the country any good. So anyway, so the first order was was about the border, and then we talked about giving up oil independence. Giving up oil independence. Tell me if I'm wrong, Roger. Tell me if you agree. Was the single event that kicked off this worldwide inflation. Because when we gave up the oil independence, the price of oil doubled, and we ended up getting inflation. It spread over there, and it also gave Russia the money that it needed to make the invasion because now they were getting $100 a barrel instead of 50. So the oil independence is just something that was a horrible thing to give up for so many reasons. And now, so everybody is starving for energy now. They're going to start going back to coal in some of these countries. Let's see what else we got here. The mandates, the vaccine mandates. Are there still HIPAA laws anymore? I don't know. How does that work?
I don't
How does
know.
privacy of medical records work if you're having mandates? You know, to like
Right, right. Yeah.
take vaccine.
How does your job get to have to know whether you got a shot or not? You know, I
Say that
mean,
again.
how does a job? How does your occupation? How does your job? How does your employer get to know whether you've gotten a shot or not?
Me personally?
No, no. I'm just exactly the HIPAA law. That's
Oh,
how do they invade? How do they invade people's privacies with the HIPAA law? They shouldn't have to know that. I agree with that. And I agree with the oil thing you said too.
it's
And
just
I and it's not just the oil thing. Well, it's the oil, and then the ripples of effect that occur from there. From
absolutely
just going down to the store to pick up a gallon of milk. It's costing me, $1 in gas to go there. Where it cost a quarter way back when, and it's now costing $8 a gallon where it used to cost $2 or $3. And so it's coming in from every different way because the cost of transportation and
right.
logistics.
So it's self-perpetuating. It's a self-perpetuating inflation. It was a complete unforced error, completely unforced. And that was the single event that kicked off this inflation, was giving up oil independence,
Right.
energy independence. Uh, what else? We covered the elections, that we just want fair, free elections. Now, people say, oh, you don't want to talk about the elections, it's in the past. Okay, no, yeah, we want to have our sights focused on winning this midterm. I'm all for that. And all these reasons we're talking about now are reasons why not to vote for Democrats in the midterm. But I don't think that you can just completely ignore what happened and then expect to go forward and expect it not to happen again. So the fact that there were irregularities, it doesn't matter to take the argument if it would have made the difference in the election or not. But I think if you look at everything as a whole, everything that happened leading up to and after the election, we had Hillary literally framing the sitting president of the United States by paying for this fake dossier that the FBI, they knew it was BS. They took it to the FISA court so that they could spy on Trump. So they were spying on Trump before he was president, after he was president, and that's what led to the Mueller report, which was a ruse. And Mueller knew that Trump was innocent for a year before he ended the report. So he kept doing the report for a year after he knew that Trump was innocent. Then we had the impeachment one, and you got the Pelosi mail out. We all knew what was happening when they said, "Oh, come on, we're going to mail everybody the ballots," because the Democrats had zero voter enthusiasm. They were not going to go to the polls. So what did the Democrats do? They brought the polls to them.
That's a good way of saying it.
Well, it's exactly what they did. They chopped off our knees because voter enthusiasm is a big deal, and it should be a big deal, and it should matter, because if you're not enthusiastic enough to go out and vote, why do we even want that vote? You know, people that care about the country are going to get out and vote. Those are the votes that should really count. And everybody just kind of went along with it, knowing what was going to happen. But nonetheless, we got hoodwinked anyway.
Right.
Then we have this blackout. Okay, so you've got the two impeachments. Nothing happened with Mueller. You got impeachment one, impeachment two. Now we've got a complete blackout. But I've never seen. I know you've never seen it because it's never happened. Where literally all the media was coordinated. I mean, all your Facebooks, your social media, your big media, your newspapers, the Times, your network news. Nobody said a thing about this laptop and the information that Tony Bobulinski had come out with, and the New York Post came out with a very comprehensive article, and incredibly, for the first time in the history of this United States, the New York Post, which is one of the older established papers in the country, a complete blackout. We were not allowed to hear, we were not allowed to see, and we were not allowed to talk about it one bit. And then Tony Bobulinski came out. Do you remember him?
Right.
This was the best prepared whistleblower I had ever seen in my life. He had all kinds of details. He was a naval officer, and he was simply there. He wanted to clear his name. He didn't want his name to be associated with the Biden family influence peddling scheme. And he gave the FBI cell phones. And he said, here, these cell phones will corroborate what's on the laptop. So what happened? Well, we never heard from Bobulinski again. I've never seen him again, ever. Never heard from him again. And the FBI, during the impeachment, sat on the laptop for a year. Just like Mueller knew he was innocent for a year. He kept the investigation going. The FBI sat on the laptop while the president of the United States was being impeached, and the very information on that laptop would have cleared President Trump. The very information on there. He was totally, he did the right thing by asking Zelensky about corruption, because there clearly was, and that would have been exposed on that laptop. So
why do you think that the Republicans tend to, and the conservatives tend to get more slammed and, indicted, and as opposed to the Democrats? For me, the thing that I want to see is that I want to see Hillary and Obama held for killing the 4 Americans in Benghazi. That for me, we've forgotten about that almost.
No, I haven't forgotten about it. She should be getting away with murder. I mean, literally, the insanity about Benghazi for her to make up people. Don't forget about the video. You should be really pissed off that you were lied to like fools about, oh, it's the video.
But leave her alone. Oh, she's such a wonderful woman.
What difference does it make at this point, right? So Susan Rice goes out on TV because Hillary was too much of a coward to look in the camera and lie. They completely fabricated the story about the video. You know why? Because the attack in Benghazi took place on September 11th. And according to Obama, there's no problem with terrorism anymore. The war on terror is over. Everything's fine. And so it was too much of an embarrassment for President Obama to admit that there was a terror attack on September 11th because it was September 11th, and we were caught with our pants down. Okay. Then Panetta says, well, why didn't you send planes over there? He says, well, by the time we would have gotten there, it takes too long to get there. McFly, how do you know how long it's going to go on for? How do you, we can't get there in time. How do you know? How do you know you're not going to get there in time if it goes on and on and on? So this is absolutely, absolute insanity to fabricate this. Oh, by the way, Roger, the guy that made the video, the guy that actually made the video, I believe he was an Egyptian Coptic Christian in America. They threw him in jail for a year.
Right, they didn't charge him or something.
I don't want to give misinformation, but similar what happened to him is what's happening to the January 6ers. And he didn't do anything wrong. You're allowed to make a movie.
Right, they didn't charge him with anything, if I believe.
I believe you're correct. That's right. They just stuck him in the drawer for a year. Now this is so un-American. These are the stories that we used to be told in school when we were kids about why this happens in Russia, but never happens in America.
McCarthyism.
Well, right now what they're doing is far as look what they're doing to the mega people, the ultra mega. You know, Roger, if I didn't know better, I would think that they're trying to make ultra mega people to be what the Jews were in Germany. Okay, they're telling everybody we're evil, domestic terrorists, white supremacists, and we're an existential threat to the United States of America. Now, out of millions of people, somebody's going to think that's really bad. We really do need to get rid of these people. So I have to wonder, are we going to have like a gold MAGA star to wear on our chest next? Is that the next thing coming? Because I know I'm being sarcastic to a point, but the thing is, Roger, so many things have happened in this country in the last couple of years, and then when Obama was president, so many things have happened that people said this could never, ever happen in America. Well, guess what? They all did. So we shouldn't be sitting up there saying, oh, that can't happen, because we've said that with so many things, it can't happen, and they have. So this can't keep going on. And Roger, let me ask you this as a question, if you don't mind, because I find this a little scary and unsettling. The fact that the FBI, after they went to Mar-a-Lago and after they had all this blowback, that they still were brazen enough to get the My Pillow guy at Hardee's. You know, you would think that they would be a little more politically sensitive to that, but instead of backing off a little bit, they did the opposite. They had, I don't know how many squad cars they surrounded Hardee's, took his phone. So this scares me a bit, Raj, because I'm saying, well, wait a second. It's one of two things. Are they either in the death throes, they know they're all going to lose power, and so they're going to do everything and anything possible to try to find something to get out of this? Or, I hope it's not my worst fears, that they're doing it because they can do it, because they have people in place. They already have everybody in place to do whatever the hell they want. I hope that's not the case.
One story I've heard
sure
is
acting like it.
The reason why they're going after these, after they went after President Trump and Mike Lindell, is to find what they have on Hunter Biden, going back to the laptop thing that you were talking about.
Or on the FBI, for that matter.
Right.
Well, I certainly hope they've got copies of all this stuff. You know, have you thought? I mean, you know, if they came and they took everything out of his house, I certainly hope they've got some thumb drives somewhere.
Well, what I've seen occur over the last 7 years, everything that Trump has come out and said that they've slammed him over, he's always ended up being correct. He's always been right in the long run.
Well, that's why I wrote that second, and I called up Sandy. I said, Sandy, Trump always ends up
being right.
He always ends up being right. He ends up right all the time. I said, what kind of song can I do with that? He was one that gave me the idea with that Twisted Sister thing. But that's exactly right. It was occurring to me that Trump always ends up right. In other words, he'll say something, you go, oh my God, he's spied on, what a crazy man. He ends up being right. And to me, he ended up being right about everything. Now, there will be people that will disagree and argue with you about Charlottesville. He didn't say those things about Charlottesville. This was completely misconstrued. We know what that was. And about the Muslims dancing in Patterson, they were. I saw it myself. I don't know if it was 500 or 1,000. But the point is, he was right about the super V in the economy. He was right about the corruption with the Bidens. I really can't think of anything that he came out with that he ended up being wrong on. He ended up being correct on everything.
Right. Why did you choose the songs "Lady Is a Tramp"? And you know the Trump was right is a parody of which song?
Trump always ended up right. He was right all along. That's we're not going to take it anymore by the Twisted Sister,
So how
and
did
that's a
you?
lyric parody. There's no real. It just has the lyric showing, which
Right.
is fine because the original lyric is he was framed by Hillary, the FBI, and NBC. A deplorable hoax. He was right all along. That's the opening stanza.
Right. And how did you choose those two songs? How did those two songs come about?
Well, like I said, Sandy picked the Ladies a Tramp because he heard it just popped into his mind. He heard it on the radio and he heard them say something about a date, and he came up with these lyrics about you have no border, not even a gate, and he just really wrote the lyrics to that song. It just kind of popped into his head, and the reason I picked the song I did is because I just had these set of lyrics. Trump always ended up right. He was right all along, and all these different instances. I said, Sandy, what kind of song can I use for that? So it was really his idea for me to use that song. We're not going to take it anymore.
What's your favorite song?
Oh, I can't answer that. I'm a music. I really can't. I can't.
What's your
I
favorite
can't.
song to play?
I don't know. There's a million of them. Stardust on what? On the trombone or to sing or the.
A piano.
I don't play piano. I play all the instruments. I arrange on the piano. That's kind
You
of what
can't
I
play anything
probably.
on the piano?
Well, I could probably fool you into thinking I can play the
Go
piano,
ahead,
but
turn around and play it.
no, no, no,
Come
no,
on, come
no,
on.
no, no, no.
Give
I'm
me
not going to
a
do it.
couple of bars.
No, no,
Just
no.
turn around
I'll
and
go to
play.
a couple of bars with you. No, I'm retired. I won't do that. No, but that's the truth. I use the piano for arranging, but in the act, that
Oh,
was
you
just
got your trombone there?
it. I have, it's on the wall in the living room. I have
Oh,
the entire act on the wall: the trombone, the cornet, the pocket trumpet, the ocarina
I
flute,
want
the
some live
violin.
music here.
Huh?
I want some live music here.
Well, I will send you music. I'll
Oh,
be more than happy to send you music that I did. Really, I put together from the Stan Kenton band. I had these great live tapes that I had. So I produced a CD on that, and then to my surprise, I liked the track. I liked the tapes that I heard of my act, and I said, "Oh, that's not bad." So I looked for more, and I did that with that as well. But the only music I'm interested in doing now is whatever will help this country. Uh, Before Romney's election, I did a music video of America the Beautiful with a big band, and I had political texts on the screen. And I felt, and I still feel, that the biggest honor, the best thing I could do in life, like forget my whole music career. I've had a very good career, but I would flush it down the toilet if I could be George M. Cohan one time for this country and help make a difference. So that's my only interest in music now is doing these parodies and hopefully having some impact with them.
how do you think your song and your activism, how will you transcend all the other things that are going on for all the different activists and everybody else that's out there that's as upset and angry as you are? How are you going to transcend that?
I really never compared anything to anything. Our highest hope, number one, was that Donald Trump would see the videos and it would make him feel better. Now, that sounds corny as hell, but we're corny guys. That's really what we wanted
Right.
to do. But what we'd like to see it do, we'd like to see him use it in his playlists at his rallies. The ultimate would be the national convention, of course. So it's entertainment for the people that are waiting. The Ladies at Tramp, it's a full-size video. It's like 2.5 minutes. For parodies, that's quite long. But like I said, we've got a lot of information in there. We didn't get to talk about California, Afghanistan, peace in the Mideast. We've got like 14 topics in there. So it takes 2.5 minutes to get through all those things. So I think that people will get a real kick out of seeing that video if they've got the screen up, whether they're waiting for his rallies or at the convention. And the other one, the lyric parody that I did, I think it speaks for a lot of people that are really more like the Ladies of Tramp. It's great. I love it. That's why we need to bring back Trump is the real title. But it's intentionally a little lighthearted. We've got some humor in it, and you want that. You can't just be angry, or it will lose people. On this last one I did, I think it speaks more to the people that are a little more fed up that are, we're not going to
Right.
take it anymore. And so it worked out well with that song.
Why parody? Why not write a brand new song?
Because no one would know what it is. because that's what I've been fighting my whole life. Look, I compose music too. All right.
Well, you said you wanted to be Cohen, so
Huh?
why not
Oh,
write a
George.
song?
Well, George M. Cohan didn't. Did he do it with original music, or did he do it with the existing? Didn't he do it with existing military songs and stuff that we know? I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't think that he was known for original music. He was just for him bringing it onto the stage. I think in a show business fashion.
Well, are you afraid of being attributed to like a Weird Al
Being a true, you mean by doing? Am I afraid of?
compared to like Weird Al Yankovic?
Why? Why would I be afraid of that?
I'm asking. I mean, do you want to?
You mean as far as the direction with the career that I'd be compared to like a
Right,
parodist?
right, just the parodies. Yeah,
It
I
doesn't
mean, he's
matter.
been very successful.
Yeah, but I'm not that young anymore. I'm not interested in going back into show business. I have
Uh,
no interest in going to show business. I got out of that to play softball. Why would I want to go back? Show business is just as bad as the music business. I don't really know which is worse. But I was lucky I was able to do it. And I'm lucky that I was able to have CDs of tapes that I had that I could at least remember the music. I did the arrangements, so I'm able to hear my arrangements. But no, the greatest thing I could do, like I said before, I did a lot of good things in my career. I really, really did. And I wrote some good things, some good jazz composition. I would give everything up if I could write one stupid 2-chord song that would help the country get back on its feet and get back on track. I really ought. I
I
really,
like
really.
that. I like that a lot.
We have no border, not even a gate. We all get censored by the deep state. We just can't stomach another mandate. That's why we need to bring back Trump. Crime is so bad now, we just wanna hurl. An athlete can say he'll compete as a girl. Kamala's cackle makes your hair curl. That's why we need to bring back Trump. We all want free elections that are fair, but they don't care. They're woke, what a joke. Hey, California, you're now a real dump. That's why we need to bring back Trump. Stopping the pipeline is not a good bet. Defunding cops was the dumbest thing yet. Afghanistan, well, how dumb can you get? That's why we need to bring back Trump. We don't want socialism here anymore. It only makes sure that everyone's poor. Critical race theory we all deplore. That's why we need to bring back Trump. We want our oil independence back again. For sure there would have been real peace in Mideast. We tried to warn ya, Joe Biden's a chump. That's why we need to. That's why we have to. That's why we've got to bring back Trump.
That's awesome.
So you could hear it okay then? You were hearing it in the phones. Good.
Yes.
All right.
I wonder how many of those rallies I was at, because I've been to a whole ton of rallies. I've probably been to 60 of them in my lifetime.
Oh my
between
goodness. 60 Trump rallies?
60 Trump rallies, yeah.
Wow.
Between volunteering.
Mhm.
There's one coming up this week here in North Carolina too, in Wilmington, I heard.
And he's doing one tonight. He's doing a lot of them again now.
Is he in
I went
Wilmington
to
tonight?
I went to the first 5 in the Florida area.
Yeah. I went to one a year or two ago, the one in Sanford,
Mm-hmm.
in Sanford, Florida.
Florida, right.
Right. So,
Roger, Could you imagine the things that this country could do if all Americans would just root for Uncle Sam and Team America the same way they root for their favorite sports teams? With that same enthusiasm, that same gusto, they're screaming, oh, a touchdown. That's all great. But don't you think they would cheer as much for like Iran not getting a nuclear bomb?
Well,
Things like
let me ask you this. Let me
Yeah.
say this back to you. You said that the current round of inflation was kicked off by the oil, the change of the oil and oil independence. Where do you think the catalyst for this change in the feeling about America and you know, I mean, there's a reason why Trump has that phrase, "Make America Great Again."
Yeah.
Like because I think back, well, it was this point. No, it was this point. No, it was this point. You know, it was the 2000 election. Well, no, maybe it was before that. Maybe it was when they took down Clinton, when they impeached Clinton because of what he did in the White House, or was it before that? Was there something before that? Like, what do you think, or is there a point where this whole shift came about?
I think I do. I think I do know. If you recall, correct me if I'm wrong, if you remember differently, tell me. But before Obama was elected, for example, there wasn't that much tension about race. I thought that the whole racial situation in the United States was finally calming down and subsiding and going into normal. And now we had an African American Obama running for president. Everything was really cooling down. And then Obama came into the presidency. He started to stir the stuff up. You had the beer summit. They went to Ferguson after Floyd. They went to Ferguson, and they told the angry crowds, "Stay the course." Stay the course. They were rioting. So we still have the Ferguson effect today because of that. So I would say 8 years of Obama, and during those 8 years, it just wasn't just the race thing. Of course not. I'm sure that's when CRT got the fanning of the flames for CRT in the schools, and all this stuff started to come together during those 8 years. We had a 4-year respite with Donald Trump, and in less than 2 years with Obama, Biden, because it's the same thing to me. Look what's happened in less than 2 years. So I thought the country was pretty level. It was leveling out. We didn't have all these crises. We didn't have China and Russia, and we're on the verge of nuclear war and all this crazy stuff. We only had one. Remember when we used to only have one crisis at a time instead of like 10? That's why people don't even take them as big crises, because there's so much of it. If they just blow it off because it's not that important anymore. It's like all over the place. We used to have one crisis at a time. Now we've got so many, people don't even know if it is a crisis. But it was definitely when Obama came in. And here's the kicker. I left out a couple of very, very important things. There were 2 moments where we really screwed up. But before I get to that, let's stay with Obama. The talking heads are scratching their heads. They're trying to figure out, why are the Democrats doing this at the border? How can they be so stupid? The anchors are really, they're trying to figure this out. And I'm going, well, wait a second. I have the answer. It's very simple. They're stupid. They're very stupid. But they're not that stupid. Okay? And the fact of the matter is, I'd love to be wrong, but I'm sure I'm not. The answer is because they're trying to destroy America. Why would you want to destroy America? So that we could undergo our fundamental transformation. Fundamental transformation. Remember that term? Everybody was everybody screaming for it. Not one person, not one journalist from any network, not one. After all this time of him saying we're going to change, America's going to go through a fundamental transformation, not one single person ever asked Obama to this day, what are you changing and into what? Fundamental transformation. What are you going to transform, and what are you going to transform it into? So that's just a real problem. Now, two moments, and I think you're going to remember this. You'll remember these moments, certainly, where there's no accountability. And when Nancy Pelosi tore up that State of the Union address on stage behind the sitting president of the United States, well, he was standing at the time, for the entire country and the entire world to see, she disgraced her position. She defiled her position. She defiled everything in that room and really took America down several notches. She should have been drummed out of office for that incident alone. That was no small.
Well, if Trump had done that, they would have impeached him.
No, they would have tarred and feathered him.
Yeah.
I mean, to stand up with that pixie smile and tearing up the speech right behind the president of the United States. And, I thought he handled it very well. People say he's such a mean guy. A lot of people would have turned around and maybe, swatted her like a fly. I don't know. But that was really a disgusting thing to do. And the fact that she got away with that, well, that opened the door to more things. Then the next thing I can recall was when de Blasio's police department in New York that was told to stand down, where they retreated from this mob that was throwing water on them and then some water bottles, and they retreated and slinked off. This is New York's finest. This had never happened before, and it shouldn't have happened. And if they had to get 5,000 or 10,000 police out there to have rectified that situation, that's what they should have done. But instead, it's opened the door to all kinds of lawlessness, and it's just
how wild is it that this country has changed in the last 21 years? On 9/11, the police and law enforcement, they were all they were triumphed as heroes. And today, nobody wants to become a cop, because it's a horrible job to have now, because you don't have any protection, you don't have anything, I mean, the communities where I live, I mean, talking with the sheriff, they're 60 deputies shy of where they should be, and they can't get people to stay on.
Well, what do we expect with what's happened for the last few years? Who would want to be a policeman and put a target on their back just by going to work? Now, you said after 9/11 they were heroes. That didn't all last for that long. Look what they did to the CIA agents. The ACLU came out moaning and crying about how we were waterboarding genocidal terrorists like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who's still running around playing soccer in the soccer fields we built at Gitmo for him. And what they did was really disgusting. Do you know that they doxed the CIA agents that were involved? They doxed them, and the CIA agents, they're worried about their families, their own safety, and the safety of their families, and we permitted this crap to go on? So the CIA agents that were trying to help America and trying to help avoid another attack, they get doxed by these whack job left-wingers. So you say, they like the police and the firemen after 9/11, but like patriotism, it waned and it didn't really last forever. And
the other song you wrote was "He Was Framed by Hillary."
Yeah, he was framed by Hillary.
That's a Twisted Sister song.
Pardon me?
That's a Twisted Sister song.
That's the Twisted Sister song of "We're Not Going to Take It Anymore." Yeah.
Okay. That's a minute shorter than the first one. That's only a minute and 38.
Yeah, well, that's probably more in the ballpark of what people have the patience for, But like I say, I think if it's shown at events, the length will help the Lady as a Tramp.
So let's play that now, and we'll get that up, cue that up, and we'll play that. That's a minute and 38 seconds long.
Thanks, Roger.
Sure.
Was framed by Hillary, FBI and NBC. A deplorable hoax, he was right all along. He was right about the wall, open borders, fentanyl, everybody walking across without a wall. Stranded in Afghanistan, left to face the Taliban, never have we left our people behind. No, no. Don't tell us what to say. Don't tell us what not to say. Freedom of speech is the American way. So keep your hands off Christmas, the flag and our traditions. He was right about that, he was right all along. You may not wanna hear it, some of you may fear it. Trump always ended up right, he was right all along. You may not wanna hear it, some of you may fear it. Trump always ended up right, he was right all along.
You rhyme Christmas and traditions.
Well, I'm not really a lyricist. I'm just a patriot. It worked. Come on, it's not.
It did. Oh, it did work. I was like,
But I'm very happy about getting the flag and our traditions and Christmas in there because
Correct.
you know when I had the Joe Citizen show, you know they're just such liars. If people come out, well, if they came out with their agenda, they'd be shooed out of town. So they had to be deceptive. But oh, they laughed at us. Oh, we don't have a war on Christmas. Really? Sure they did. And I even had a section every week on the show, you know, Christian bashing. I had different categories. One of the categories was Christian bashing because clearly they were trying to take our culture down. Waleed Shobat, he was the former PLO terrorist that became a good guy for our side and, you know, explains things to our side so they understand. He was on the show several times. His son, Ted Shobat, was only 20 years old. He wrote a book, and the book was about something that I used to talk about a lot, patriotism. And the fact that they go after patriotism, because patriotism is one of the layers of our defense. And that's why they've come after patriotism and made it not hip to be patriotic. Because we have enemies from the outside of this country. Look, I've got friends, and I just hope they're wrong. I've got a couple of really smart friends, and I really hope they're wrong. Some of them think it's too late for us already. They think there are too many external forces out there, that it's been planned for too long. This one more government stuff, and there's just too much operating against us from outside and also from within. I certainly hope that's not the case. I'm an optimist. America's always landed on her feet. We've got to do it again. We have to start with this election, and we've got to win it by a blowout. And that'll be the first great step in getting this country back.
I agree with you. Roger, tell me your websites. Tell me how you can listen to the music online.
I'll give you the, I'll give you the, I don't even know what you call them. Are they websites? It's not a web. It's an address.
URLs?
All right. So for the ladies and tramp, it's bringbacktrump.net. And I get them confused. So that's bringbacktrump.net. Now the other one is he was framed by Hillary.com. Or if you prefer the shorter, he was framed.com. So those are the two parodies.
Is Joe Citizen Show still up anywhere, or?
No. It was a really heavy lift. In fact, I think it would be easier to do a show every day than once a week, because to go through 60, 80 articles a week, categorize them, see how the dots connected from the previous week.
That was a radio show, right?
Incredible amount of work.
That was a radio show, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
On what stations were you on?
It was on it started in Georgia, WCGA. It started with that, but then the 2-year run was on WLVJ 1040. It was a Christian station out of Pompano Beach, and I did one of the last shows they had before they sold the station.
How big of an audience did you have down there?
No idea.
No
I
idea.
really have no. They did not have an Arbitron, but I know that I was always connected with the Tea Party people, and if they'd be having live events, we'd have a live feed, etc. And I don't know, there were times when we had like protests of $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, 8,000 people. Was probably the largest one on a tax day. And like I said, when we lost Anita, somehow we lost all that.
How do you feel about the elections that just happened down there in Florida? Didn't you guys just flip a couple of school boards down there?
I hear it's going quite well. I haven't dug in that tightly with it, to be truthful with you, but I've heard the overall thing is that, yeah, it's going well, and I expect all the Trump endorsed candidates to do well, as they have been.
Since you're in Florida, if DeSantis decides he wants to run and Trump announces, how are you going to rectify that in your brain? Because you must like DeSantis, don't you?
I love DeSantis. I don't think that's going to happen, though, simply because DeSantis is so honorable. He said he wouldn't run if Trump was running. So I'm presuming he's going to honor that, and that's why I can't imagine him saying, okay, I'm running, and he's going to want to go head to head and get in a primary with Trump. I can't envision that. But I do think DeSantis is just fabulous, and thank God that we have him for governor in this state.
Right. I mean, I couldn't imagine what would be going on in Florida right now if you didn't have a guy like DeSantis down there.
And what he's doing now with the busing, putting the people, like it's incredible to see Mayor Adams in New York, oh boo hoo, and Lightfoot or Light, whatever her name is, and she go, oh gee, we have 200 immigrants. She said, what are we gonna? Well, what do you think it's like when you're getting 8,000 a day? How do you think?
How come though? How come you?
Unbelievable.
A Republican says something and they're bashed. A Republican says something, a conservative says something, and they're held accountable for every single word they say. But then when you look on the other side, right, you listen to Eric Adams come cry, about, oh my goodness, all this is happening. It's inhumane what they're doing. DeSantis has done. I think he used the word inhumane. Eric Adams did. Oh, what DeSantis is doing. This is what they've been doing.
The border is inhumane.
But this is what they've been doing all along.
Yeah,
the left has been doing this. And why is it that when an Eric Adams says something like this, it sticks, but when a Republican does something, he gets bashed over it, and it doesn't stick,
Well, it's like one of my softball coaches, George Deeb, says, they've got all the umpires. They've got all the umpires. Doesn't matter what you do in that game if every single umpire is on the same team. And that's the kind of media we have. And I don't know this. Look, we need to break up this media. I don't know how it's possible. I'm not a lawyer. We broke up Ma Bell. Why can't we break up the media? Why can't we make it a law in this country that you can't have 5 corporations owning all of the media that we listen to? Can't we make that a law that they have to be individually owned?
Isn't that called like a monopoly? Why isn't that a monopoly? Isn't that a monopoly?
I don't know, Roger. That's a good. Why isn't it? Why isn't it? So if we did that, if we broke up the stinking media, the stinking complicit media, and had term limits, we would be just fine. When Trump first came out and he said the fake news, people thought, oh, what a stupid thing to say. He's just saying that about news he doesn't like to hear. But isn't it funny, ladies and gentlemen, how it turned out that he really was understating it?
He was right.
I didn't even know he said it. He was understating what's really happening, but because this is nothing less than as far as I see it, this has been a coordinated coup for over 6 years, okay? Between the media, the Democrats, the FBI, the Department of Justice, and it's disgusting. And it's a big stain on this country's history. But let's hope it's just a stain on our history. Let's hope that we have a history after this. But this happened. Like I say, it started before he even came down the escalator. But when he came down the escalator, that's when this stuff started. And hopefully we'll see America the way we used to see her, because this stuff is it's off the charts. We wouldn't have believed it. If you would have made a movie about this, they would have thrown it away and said, that can't happen. Nobody's going to believe that.
Unbelievable. Do you have a personal website? How do you find you?
When I had music and everything, I had a Joe Citizen website actually, but I don't now. I'm so out of the high tech stuff. I've got a YouTube channel. I'm putting some other music things I have up there, like that America the Beautiful video as well. But I may get a website, but I don't.
What's the America Beautiful video?
It's on my channel, I think. On my YouTube, it's on my YouTube channel. But that's, it's 10 years old or 11 years old. But the funny thing about that, Roger, is that it's still relevant today. That's what's scary about it, actually. That's what's pretty frightening.
Which channel is that? Well, that's why we need to bring back Trump channel? Or
no. I don't know how to tell you to get there. On the hewasframed.com, or he was framed on that channel. I have a channel, but I don't know how to tell you to get into it. I barely know how to get into it myself.
He was framed by Hillary.
And they uploaded This America the Beautiful.
Roger Homefield?
Pardon me?
Let's see. Oh, they're on Roger, or on Hillary was right.
That's the video you played. That's the Twisted Sister.
He was framed by Hillary. Yeah, you only got the one video there.
Yeah, I guess there's channels or these sub channels. I don't really know how, if one of the girls was on over this, they tell us how to get there.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm just looking real quick. I can't. Yeah. Okay. What's the next? What's up next for you guys? Or for you, what's up for you and Raw and Sandy?
Well, the video has just kind of come out. We're really, really hoping that it's going to have traction and that it'll make a difference. That was our only motive. And to this day, that is the motive. We just hope it helps the election. We hope he plays it at the rallies. We don't expect to win over any liberals with the video. It's not going to happen. You can't even talk to them. They walk off in a tiff. You can't talk to them. So we just want to make Trump feel good. We want his voters to feel good. You know why? Because they've been slapped around for 6 years. I am tired of being called a this and a that. I'm the son of a Navy commander. I don't enjoy being called a racist and a bigot and a domestic terrorist. Okay? My girlfriend that I take care of, by the way, is a mulatto from Cuba. She came over in the Mario boat lift. I don't think I'm a white supremacist, Mr. Biden. Thank you very much. So I got lost. When I get upset, I get lost sometimes. What were we talking about?
What was the song? America the Beautiful?
Yeah. Yeah. And there was a big, I did that arrangement.
Oh, yeah, here it is. I found it. On Joe Citizen show.
Yeah, and now I thought that was the first of its kind when I did it. I think it may be. I never saw that before. It's a big band video. And
it's the logo you got in your back there is on it. Red, white, and blue big band.
Yeah, those are the music stands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was what your band was called?
The Red, White, and Blue Big Band, yeah.
Okay.
Conducted by Joe Citizen. I didn't even use my name because I figured Joe Citizen would be, well, that was the show. And I didn't even use my name. I wasn't thinking of, I just wanted to help.
Gotcha. All righty. Well, it's about an hour. So I think
Can we do another hour?
Yeah, let's we'll meet again.
I hope.
Yeah. Well, good luck with this and let us know how things going. And it was nice spending time. Anything else you want to say before we go?
I just really want to thank you for the opportunity to have a platform to speak to people and get it out there. Because like I said, I didn't do anything for a number of years. Sandy brought me back to life with this.
Right.
This really is our last shot. And I know we're going to do well, but folks, we've got to get out there and just have a massive output. We've got to really win by a landslide in this midterm. Well,
folks, we've been talking with Roger Homefield for the last hour about his two new songs and hearing about his career, his life, and the activism that he's done. We appreciate you spending an hour with us, Roger, and have a good night.
Thank you, Roger. Went by very quickly. Thank you very much, sir.